Good morning. It is 10:41. It is July the 1st, 2024. And the Supreme Court has decided that the president is immune for official acts. I couldn't have imagined anything other than that. If he's doing official acts, of course he's immune. We don't need a decision on that, people. We need a decision, which they clearly said, his personal actions are not immune.
I agree with the three buckets.
They are not immune. And so we're going to continue listening to this. I'm recording it as well. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to let this go for a little while. I brought the channel up. I wanted to make sure that this is pointed out. He is immune from official acts. We didn't need the Supreme Court to tell us that. Of course he is. That's a given for an official act. It is to determine what he is doing. Well, is that an official act or not? I would think if you're running for office, re-election, which they said you lost, so you're out, and the action of swearing in, doing the act of not swearing in, but making it official that he is no longer going to be the president of the United States after a specific date. That is the date that the new president is sworn in. Him interrupting that is a personal choice. It's like going for a job. You may think you have that job. You may think you should get that job over another person, but you don't have a right to the job. Therefore, since he doesn't have a right to a job, when he pursues continued employment with his employer, that being us, the people of the United States, which we've rejected him, it's personal. He's not immune.
To rebut that presumption, but that
impeached. So it basically, if he commits crime, what would be the point of the impeachment clause? That's what the impeaching him is for. So when he commits or she commits high crimes and misdemeanors, the other branch of government can take care of him. So if he commits crime, he can't be immune from crime, even though he is the president. He's committing crimes. Otherwise,
have to determine whether his conduct qualifies as official or unofficial. And then the final category that they're talking about is what happened on January 6th itself. And they say, look, the president possesses extraordinary power to speak to his fellow citizens and on their behalf as part of a core presidential function. On the other hand, there may be contexts in which he's talking in an unofficial capacity as the party leader or as the candidate for office. And to the extent that that's the case,
capacity,
Judge Chutkan is going to have to do an objective analysis of the content, form, and context.
And running for president re-election is an unofficial.
Can be prosecuted those acts. They say it depends on the content and context of each. This necessarily fact-bound analysis is best performed initially by the district court, meaning Judge Chutkan. In the rocket docket, how quickly does this start to happen?
Well, the hearing can happen very quickly. I mean, but there can be an appeal.
The court already decided when they kick it back.
They've already decided. By the way,
this has opened the door to delay.
Absolutely. I mean, this is not going to happen.
Biden, go ahead, have Trump arrested. Just have him arrested. Arrest Trump. Just send the federal agents and arrest him. You're president. You've got absolute immunity, according to Donald Trump. Arrested. Issue out the arrest warrant. In fact, why don't you just take your Secret Service team over there, grab him by the nape of his neck, and throw him in the back of the beast. And then while you got him back there, nobody knows the windows are coated. Slap his ass up. Slap him up. Bitch slap him,
I
Joe.
think there's a big picture and a small picture. The small picture in many ways is what a lot of viewers might be focused on, which is what does it mean for this particular case? We knew at the outset that this sense of having this go to trial was going to be almost impossible. This makes it absolutely clear there will not be a trial before November for the reasons that Chuck said. But there will be a hearing. And so there is this ability to have White House counsel, Mike Pence, all sorts of witnesses and evidence that was not heard in the January 6th hearings now be heard by Judge Chutkan in deciding what is official, which is what is
That doesn't
not.
fly in the face of what Lisa was saying a moment ago.
I don't think so. There will be a hearing that Judge Chutkan can have. That's sort of the small picture, but in some ways the thing that people are most focused on. Big picture is that, I mean, this is a terrible decision if you think that presidents should be treated like anyone else. And this is made up by the court whole cloth. This is not in the Constitution.
Well, let's read Sonia Sotomayor's portion of it before we go to Yvonne Hilliard
Yes,
on
let's read
and
this
John Allen on some reaction from
let's hear the
Biden and
dissenting
Donald Trump.
opinion.
She says, Sonia Sotomayor, one of the justices, today's decision to grant former presidents criminal immunity reshapes the institution of the presidency. It makes a mockery of the principle foundational to our Constitution and a system of government that no man is above the law, relying on little more than its own misguided wisdom.
It is time for the removal
and unhesitating
of the Chief Justice and his cronies and the Trump cronies off of the Supreme Court. It is time for removal. Rise up. Rise up, people. Rise up for democracy. Rise up. I'm not going to vote for Biden. I'm going to vote against Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. I'm voting against Trump. Tell yourselves that. Tell your friends that. Tell all the Republicans that. You're not voting for Biden. I don't care if you don't even like Biden. But I'm not voting for Trump. Therefore, by argument of the lesser of two evils, Trump is the greatest evil of all. The greatest evil of all. Got to vote against Trump. Vote against Trump. Vote against Trump. Vote against Trump. You're not voting for Biden. Think of it in those terms. You are not voting for Biden. You're voting against Donald J. Trump, white supremacist supreme ruler of the KKK. That's voting against. That's who you're voting against. You're voting against anarchy. You're voting against a person who says he is above the law. You know, people, that is ridiculous. If you agree with this, you're as white as racism can be in this country, and you approve it to all of us that racism and white supremacy is alive and well in this country, and we've all known it. My friends and I, we've talked about it all these years. We've seen it all those years in the military. We've seen it. Now you are demonstrating it by supporting this evil empire building, colonizing, white supremacist racists. We're live. We are live. This is live. That's how much I feel about this. We are alive.
It is a momentous, major decision. And I want to read to you from what Justice Sotomayor says at the end of her dissent, because I have never seen language like this in a Supreme Court opinion. She says, quote, "Never in the history of our republic has a president had reason to believe he'd be immune from criminal prosecution if he used the trappings of his office to violate the criminal law. Moving forward, however, all former presidents will be cloaked in such immunity. If the occupant of that office misuses official power for personal gain, the criminal law that the rest of us must abide will not provide a backstop And here's how she ends her dissent, Katie. With fear for our democracy, I
Did your
dissent.
papa tell you that? Democracy. The defenders of democracy must rise up. That includes Republicans. I'm talking to you Republicans. I'm not talking to no Democrats. I'm talking to Republicans. Wake up. Wake up. You say you're woke. You want to steal the woke?
Beyond the
Anarchy is coming.
prosecution, the long-term consequences of today's decision are still.
Anarchy is coming.
The court effectively creates a law-free zone around the president.
Yes, it is. Against democracy. Rise up against the killers of democracy. Rise up for democracy. Take your pick. What are you going to do? You're going to join the ranks of those against democracy? Or are you going to be for the ones that are for democracy? That's the choice before you. That's the choice before you, people. Crime is crime. If you do the crime, you got to do the time. Remember that? You do the crime, you got to do time. Do crime, do time. Do time, do time, do the crime. Do crime, do time. Joe, put that racist piece of fecal material in jail. Put him in jail. You are immune. You heard it. You heard it a lot. You are immune now, President Biden. What you gonna do? Kamala, go on up there, cancel the elections, and say Joe is now President Supreme. That's a quote from the majority opinion that she's using. That's what Trump is saying. If he can do it, Biden can do it. It's on. Joe can't step down. You can't. You cannot step down. Cannot. You cannot step down, President. Now you can be President, El Presidente for life. Yes. Yep. I'm thinking so. Maybe, call up a couple of your friends over in the web, the web department and kind of like have them drive by Mar-a-Lago. Yes. Have them web specialists. You know the ones I'm talking about. Yeah.
It's not going to be a check against the next president. And you have to have someone in power who you can trust to execute.
Who's going to uphold the law? There is no law. We are now a lawless banana republic. Joe, you have the power. You heard the Supreme Court. You got to get rid of Kagan. Well, no, not. I guess Kagan decided to do the right thing. You got to get rid of Roberts and Alito. They got to go. Roberts and Alito's got to go. Send the stormtroopers over. Send the storm and grab them by the neck. This is what you just wrote. And drag them out of there. Drag them out of there. You can do it now. They just told you. They gave you green light. I expect troops on the Supreme Court steps here. You should have had them on standby. Go on and make that decision. We'll see what happens next. I dare you. Now that they have, they're calling you bluff. What are you going to do? You going to sit by and play by the rules? You going to play by the rules? Have you ever played a game? Let's think back to when we were children. You ever played a game and the other team or the other person isn't playing by the rules? Can you really have a game? Come on, we learned this on the schoolyard. You can't. Persons calling calls that don't exist. Oh, well, if you're not going to give me the ball, I made a call. You're playing basketball. I called travel. You know, I didn't travel when I made that shot on you. Well, you ain't going to give me the call. I need the call. I need the call. Respect the call. Respect the call. Respect the call. Okay. We're respecting the call. Supreme Court, you called it. Joe, lock them up. You have absolute immunity now. They just told you that. Go over there. The ones that made that decision, go get them. Drag them out. Go find you 3 new judges right away and just interim. Put them in there. Yeah, interim. And then go get you 3 more. And interim. Put them in there under presidential decree. Yeah. They gave you the green light. Twist it on them. Twist it on them, Joe. Twist it, baby. Twist that knife that they stuck in. Only you got to do the move. It's called return to sender. You know the move return to sender? You've all seen it in the movies. Guy comes at you with a knife, and then you twist, and the way you grab the guy's wrist or gal's wrist, you return it to the sender, and then you let them twist it themselves. Yes, and then they look down and see what they done to themselves. That's what you got to do now. Arrest those 3 Supreme Court justices. Show them. Show them, Joe. Show them what their decision has wrought for them. Show what their decision has wrought for them. That's what they. You can't play by the rules. You think if you go to the thing and to the election, and let's say you do win, because I believe you're going to win. And I believe, and I understand your mentality saying, we'll just beat them at the polls. We'll beat them at the polls. But that's not going to matter because he believes that he's still the president. So by his argument, if he believes he's president and it's been stolen, and they said that what he did was legal on January the 6th, basically, then technically he's still president by that logic. So he's just getting his office back. He tells his people that, his followers, his minions, his Trumplicans, his acolytes. These points, they rise up. They rise up. And this time, they succeed. What you gonna do, Joe? Well, I'm the president. I'm the president. Really? He done told you what he's gonna do. So, if people succeed this time, he sends some troops over to get you. But I'm telling you to do to him. He's gonna send troops over to you, Joe.
Or bribing an individual for a pardon, those acts could be entitled to official immunity, because what the majority does is they say, we don't care that the president was actually consulting with the Department of Justice in order to throw out lawfully passed votes. All we care is that he was consulting with the Department of Justice, and that renders it an official act that's entitled to immunity.
You see the stupidity in that argument? Yeah. We don't care that it was illegal what he was talking about, because he was talking to him. The act of talking to him makes it an official act. That is the most bullshit reverse PR reverse logic I have ever heard in my life. That's like your kid saying, I stole the candy, but you put it out there in front of me knowing I like candy. How dare you do that? You asking me to take the candy. You know I likes candy. You know I likes candy. Why you do that to me, Mama? Why you do that to me, Daddy? See what happened to your ass. See what happened to that kid that's raised in a proper home. Look, go clean shot. So I can't really wave that arm. I just had the surgery in there, so I can't really slingshot.
is that by letting the
Whoa, now we'll knock the block off the light.
To proceed to trial,
That's
and
what you do
harder
to
for
him.
the lower court to allow much of the indictment to proceed
Send the
to
troops
trial.
by, Joe. Lock him up.
Alright, so we are
Lock
resetting
him
to
up.
11
Lock him up.
here in
Lock
New York.
him
The Supreme Court
up.
has just handed down
Joe,
its
send the
decision
troops
on
by.
presidential immunity.
Go get them cats.
Again, it's a
3
mixed
people in
bag
the Supreme
decision.
Court.
There's some presidential immunity.
Lock
There's
that ass up.
presidential
Throw him in jail for a
immunity
couple of days.
official acts, not
Just throw him in
for
jail.
unofficial
Fuck
acts,
it.
but the way
Throw him in
they
jail
worded
for a
it,
couple of
as we were
days.
discussing at the
Lock him
table,
up for a
and
couple of
your
days.
guess is that it does
For a
seem
couple
to
of
be
days, just put him in
heavily
jail.
toward
No,
Donald
they
Trump's
don't get no
arguments here that he can
due
do
process.
what he wants
No,
to
man,
do
take him
as
to a black
president
site.
of the United States.
Yeah,
Let's
black
bring in
site.
NBC's Ken
Bunch of
Delaney
black people gonna be
outside
there
the Supreme Court.
waiting
Ken,
on
what do
your
you have?
ass. And it's going to be a sight when they see you. What's going to happen
You know,
to
the
you?
decision goes a long way to say that the
Yeah.
president is not above the law and that private acts, unofficial acts, are not immune. But if you look at what the implications for Jack Smith's indictment of former President Trump, they appear to be dire, because there's a whole section in the indictment about Donald Trump's efforts to enlist the Justice Department to allegedly falsely proclaim that there was fraud in the election, write letters to states. That is completely out, according to this decision. And then you get to his conversations with Vice President Mike
He
Pence,
contacted
which are a key
them.
part of the indictment.
So,
This
well,
decision
if you
says
call
that there's
us
a presumption that
and you
those
tell
are
us you're going to do a
immune, but the
crime, Mr.
prosecutors can
President,
seek to rebut
because
that
you called us
in the lower
first,
course. And then
we
it also
can't
says that these
investigate you.
public statements,
Had you
public
gone and did the
statements
crime
are largely
without
immune.
calling us,
So the
though,
speech at the ellipse, any
maybe,
social media, the
I'm not
tweets,
so
the
sure.
Truth Social posts of
Biden,
Donald Trump about
hold up
January
on what
6th,
I just said.
that is largely
Call
out of this
the
case.
FBI,
What is possibly remaining
CIA,
are Donald
DIA,
Trump's, and allies'
called
conversations with state officials, with
whoever
private
else, some
parties,
other 3-letter
efforts
people. I'm
to get
few
state
Secret
officials
Service folks.
to,
Let them know what
conduct
you're going to do
investigations
first.
into bogus
That you're going to get
allegations
them
of
3
fraud.
Supreme
And
Court
what this
judges,
decision says is
and
that
you're going to go
all
get that
that
red-headed
has to go back
stepchild,
down to the district judge who has to,
and you're going to throw them in the box for a couple of days.
every single
Give
one
them
of
some
these
bread and
allegations
water
and decide what constitutes private
and
conduct,
vitamins.
what could possibly be official acts.
Vitamins.
And then, of course, that's
Maybe you might have to,
appealable.
yeah.
And so
yeah.
the idea that this case could go to trial before the
Couple of
election is
days.
completely out the window. That's not happening. And in fact,
Couple of days.
it could take a year or more to sort through this stuff. Even if Donald Trump doesn't win the election,
We're going to remove
the
these
state
people
still
from the
goes
Supreme
forward.
Court. That's what we have to
The
do.
Supreme
We
Court
need them 3 court
decision,
people removed.
greatly complicates this.
Biden, they've given you the green light. You can now remove them from the office.
There's a little more
the
that I
Supreme
want to read
Court.
from page
Just
32.
remove.
Again, Lisa
Get rid of
directed us to pages 30, 31.
Suspend habeas corpus.
Here's an interesting
Yeah,
portion
suspension of
it.
habeas corpus.
This is the majority
Suspension of
opinion.
habeas
This is
corpus.
Chief Justice Roberts writing. Trump
Say
asserts far
for
broader immunity
72
than the
hours.
limited one that we have recognized.
72 hours.
Contends
Suspension of
that the
habeas corpus.
indictment must
Give
be
you some wiggle
be
room.
dismissed
You
because
can
the
break it down. You can cut it back. Maybe as early as, say, 36, maybe 40 hours. Give yourself 72.
The text of the
Get
clause
everything in
provides
place,
little support for
call
such
the people
acts. It states that an impeachment judgment shall not
Go
extend
over
further
there
than to
and
removal from
arrest
office
all them
and
people that I said
disqualification
lock
to
them
hold
up.
and enjoy any
You can
office
do it
of
now.
honor,
Thanks to
trust,
the
or
Supreme
profit
Court, they
under
made
the
that
United
decision.
States.
Thank you,
Can
Supreme
can you
Court.
check that for me?
And then
Yeah, this
pull
was
their
an
ass off the
argument
Supreme
that
Court.
Mr. Trump's lawyers put forth.
Done.
I thought it was, I think the technical legal word for it, Katie, is silly. It was never going to get any traction in the courts of the United States. The notion that he had been impeached in the House but acquitted in the Senate would preclude a criminal case against him is nonsense, and the court is saying as much. I just want to add one note of caution. If you look at the underlying
Justices rule
indictment,
presidents
Mr.
are
Trump,
not
much of
immune
what
from
is alleged
unofficial
is
acts.
private
So they
conduct.
kind of wanted
It's
to
alleged
keep
to
it,
be
you know,
unlawful.
like we don't want to look like we
Based on
don't
my
know
reading
what
of
the
this
law
opinion,
is.
that's
But then on the same breath, in the same breath, they turn around and say, but you know, if he's doing something, he's contacting him, we got to look, because he did call the Justice Department.
Before the decision came out. The court though goes through the allegations in the indictment, and they say the DOJ matters.
We are live on the Popa Ray Family and Friends show.
With everything
Yeah,
else,
yeah,
it says
yeah,
that there's a
yeah,
presumption that they are
yeah.
official.
So you shook your head a little bit too quickly, because what I was going to say next was, they're still in. They are going to be the subject of the
Yes.
hearing. The judge will have to apply
Let's
these new
see,
standards
let's
to
see,
determine
let's
whether or not they
see.
survive or not. But they might. And before
What
we
we got
decide
going
that the
on
indictment is
here?
dead or Mr. Trump is going to walk, we ought to see what happens at the hearing below when Judge Chutkin tries to apply these standards to the allegations in the indictment. But Andrew's right. It makes it much harder I don't disagree with that at all.
I want to bring in Maya Wiley as well, but Lisa's trying to jump in. So Maya, just hold on 1 second. But hold on a little bit before. Tell me what you're thinking now, because I have a follow-up question to something that Justice Barrett disagreed on. But go ahead.
I want to put my voice in with Andrew's choir here and to say this is much more of a disaster than it might seem based on the rules that are being carved here, and for two reasons. One, at oral argument, John Sauer for former President Trump acknowledged that the fraudulent elector scheme was what he would describe as private conduct, and despite that concession, in the majority opinion, they're saying that still lives for another day to determine whether or not that's private. That's conduct that Chief Justice Roberts expressly describes among the buckets of stuff that Judge Chutkan still has to weigh whether it's private or official, indicating that they think it might be official. The second thing, and Katie, this is a big deal, is on page 18. There's a big paragraph in terms of the guidelines for Judge Chutkan in determining what's official and what's unofficial. And they say, the majority, in dividing official from unofficial conduct, courts may not inquire into the president's motives. This was a huge issue at oral argument. Chief Justice Roberts asking John Sauer, what about bribery? Let's say former President Trump or a president appoints somebody to an ambassadorship and gets a whole bunch of money for it.
Yeah, this is some stupid shit.
That we can't consider the
that's some
bribery, but we
stupid
can't
shit.
consider the acceptance of the money.
Right.
That's tautological. That's nonsensical.
That's
and
stupid.
Despite that, they are now carving a rule out that says the motive can't be considered. In other words, if you appoint somebody to an ambassadorship, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it for your own private gain. That's still official.
How can they write an opinion that says that? How can that be?
That's just
I
because
don't know how that can
you
be, but I
can.
want to be really clear
You
with
can.
what we're seeing here, and I want to go back to Neil's
This
comment.
is just some stupid
This
shit.
is not so much an opinion as it is a broad edict meant to serve a particular
The
moment,
person.
even while
Yep.
they say they are
Writing a rule for the age.
Yep.
writing a rule for the
This is a rule for the moment. Let's bring in Maya Wiley.
That's all they're
official
doing.
civil rights attorney,
That
former
is
assistant
all
US attorney,
they
and
are
president
doing.
of the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights and Human Rights.
That is
Go
all
ahead.
they are
Give us your
doing,
top
people.
line thoughts. Come into this conversation. Welcome.
Yep. That is
Thank
all
you.
they are doing.
My top line legal thoughts are cray.
Cray.
Right there with Andrew and.
She said
Chuck.
cray,
And I
people.
want to read it the way Chuck is reading it. And I actually had, what I was going to jump in and say exactly what Lisa just said about the motives point. So why don't we just go back for a minute to what the indictment alleges? Because
No,
that's
that
what
would be
makes it so
too
clear that this is such
easy.
in so many other ways. There's so many things we could say.
That would
but
be too
remember
easy.
that this indictment starts even on the first conspiracy, on
That would
conspiracy
be
to
too
defraud the
easy.
U.S., going step by step about every executive in the Trump administration appointed by Donald Trump telling him he lost the election.
Right.
That's
He's done.
how the indictment starts. It's literally DOJ.
So he's not acting in an
Cybersecurity
official capacity.
appointee who he then fired. Everyone, including, and then you can talk about the private side, his campaign manager, telling him he lost the election.
So he wasn't
And
acting in an
then
official
Arizona,
capacity.
Which is the first of the 7 states that
There you
is,
go.
That's
what I
run through
said.
in the indictment says
His own people
all
say
the
you
things
didn't
Donald
win.
Trump directly did despite
And he just
being
chose
told there was no
that he
evidence of
did-
the things
right.
he was pushing.
Right.
And
See, so you can
Arizona
say what you
elected
want.
officials on. And by the way,
This is ridiculous.
what is the
You mean the sun
official
isn't,
act of a
you know,
president about how a state
hot
is executing its election?
because you say it ain't hot.
Calling up personally. So I agree with Chuck. If you were reading this in the way, I actually think the fact that we're even talking about this,
It's
when you
ridiculous.
look back at U.S. versus Nixon, where Jaworski actually had every assumption he could prosecute Nixon, didn't because he thought it was a bad decision.
Because
He
it didn't think he
could
had to do it.
Even had U.S. Trump impeachment, think that he could still be indicted, which at least in that part.
Mitch
was
McConnell
bad.
said so.
Mitch McConnell says so, at least the Supreme Court says that. But go back to the fact that they wrote this opinion the way they wrote it on the facts of this indictment makes it so clear to me that it is not written for the ages.
Let's bring in Neil Katyal.
This
Neil.
is sad. This is a sad day in America. It's a sad day in America.
This decision today on our democracy, and in response to Chuck, and Chuck's
Sad
absolutely right,
day.
the majority says there'll be case-by-case hearings to determine whether something is an official act or not. I just don't think, and I agree here with the
The
dissent,
office can't
that
function.
that's any sort of protection here. We've never needed those kinds of case-by-case hearings before. We've always just assumed a president is not above the law.
That's right.
And in these hearings, these case-by-case hearings, as Lisa points out, you can't even introduce any evidence of a president's motive, why he was trying to do something like pressure the Justice Department or do whatever. And there'll be a presumption in favor of the president. As Justice Jackson says, that's just ridiculous. And here's what practically
There you
this
go.
means.
It's just
Any
ridiculous.
president, like Donald Trump next year or whoever the president is, can take a blatantly illegal act, slap the label, hey, this is an official act, and write that in the preface to whatever the heck he's doing. And
It is
now we're gonna have to
ridiculous.
have
This is
hearings and
ridiculous.
so on before district judges and then appeals,
Biden, act
to
upon the
determine
decision
whether
of the
it's
Supreme
truly an
Court
official
right
act
now.
or not.
President
And
Biden,
it'll
you need
all
to
take
act
place
upon
against the backdrop of
the
this Supreme Court
decision made by the Supreme
decision,
Court right
which
now.
says, when you pressure
Go
your
and grab them.
president,
Just go
then
send
you
some guys
pressure
over and
the
grab their
Justice
ass. Go grab those
Department to
3
throw out or to,
pieces of
to
fecal,
impugn
extra
election
fecal
results
material.
where you
Go
obviously
grab
have
them.
the greatest of personal
grab them.
motives.
Yep.
That's a person. That's
grab
not a personal act. That's an official act.
It's not-
so that's
not
your
official.
standard for what is an official act. Much else is going to be official.
Yep.
And what
Everything
does
else
this
is
mean
if I can
practically? I think it
can
means
initiate a
if
coup
you're
d'etat
if you're a Democrat
as an
who's
official
running for
act.
president, your
What the
path
hell is
right now
wrong
is
with you
clear.
people? Come
You
on
have to
now.
run against
That
this
don't even
Supreme
make any
Court. You
damn
have to run
sense.
against this
A
decision.
coup
This is not
d'etat.
America. If you want to make America great again, you got to return to the rule of law. This decision today, unfortunately, is a blueprint on how to end the rule.
Are you arguing adding justices to the Supreme Court?
Say-
I'm not arguing adding justices. I'm arguing that we need
See,
to have justices that
he's
are
as pointless
consistent with
and
the
as-
rule of law
and as
with
feckless
those
as the rest
basic
of them.
American tradition of which no
You
person
might
is
as well
above the law.
shut up too. And I like you normally, but you might as well shut up. Because if he's not going to call out, increase the number of justices to the Supreme Court, then why is he talking? Why is he breathing air? This is what I'm talking about. You've got these media people out there that are saying half the story, half of the urgency of what it is that we Americans need to do to protect democracy. This is half, not even half of the story if he's not going to say do something about the Supreme Court.
What this decision will do to our separation of powers, to our rule of law, as well as the decisions from last week in Dobbs and the like. This court now seems pretty out of step with mainstream American society. The idea that a president, as president, could pressure his Justice Department into doing certain things to help him in the election, and to call that absolutely immune, something that can't be looked at by a court, is, I think constitutionally unfathomable and a real disservice to what the rule of law is about.
Interesting.
I just did the justices not read this the Constitution, or the ones that made this decision? They not know what's in it. They do not understand the tenets of the Constitution. No, Justice Roberts. No, you should be removed from the bench. Forcibly removed from the bench. Remove him from the bench.
Justice Roberts goes with sort of exclusion here, and he says you can sort of deal with Justice Barrett's concern about evidence by saying you can sort of work around that problem. I'm really surprised by that. I'd like to just underscore what Neil's saying.
No, this is a guy bending over backwards for white supremacy, and he's white. He's for white supremacy, and he's white. How about that? He's for white supremacy, and he's white. You're surprised by a white person who's for white supremacy.
This decision today makes it so imperative that the person who holds the office understand the limits on and exercises those powers with restraint.
Because if Trump ends up in office, even if he loses, he's going to win. No. No. That's fair play bullshit. No. No.
Because you could make the argument that is.
I ain't arguing with you no more. No.
At the very least, presumptively.
How would you make that argument?
You'd sit there and say, I have determined as commander-in-chief that this is necessary. And the way that Judge Pan in the lower court phrased it was, what if the president decides that a political adversary is a threat to democracy? and orders the killing. That is and why isn't that now an official act with a presumption of immunity? And you don't look at motive. You can't consider that he's doing it to get rid of his adversary.
I want to bring in Melissa Murray, but Chuck, your
Sounds
cold face.
a little Putin-esque
Yeah.
to me.
So I look.
Sounds a little Putin-esque to me.
So is Neil
I'll
Ryan.
get rid of my competitor,
But
and I'll just say he was a threat to democracy.
Yes, he left me out.
So I acted in my fit, but he was my rival. He was probably going to win. Yeah, what would Lech Walesa be today if that
I
was
sense
the
some
case?
discomfort with the lengths that this conversation is going to, and I want to know why you feel that way.
it strikes me as a little bit odd and perhaps hyperbolic that our
Really?
successive presidents will become
Biden,
blooded
call up the
assassins
sharpshooters.
and will try and hide that conduct behind this case. I mean, to Andrew's
I
point,
believe Trump is a threat to
it's
democracy.
only,
Call up the
quote,
sharpshooters.
unquote,
Trump is a threat to
presumptively
democracy.
immune if you
Call
do
up the
something
sharpshooters
like
there,
that.
Mr. President.
And it's hard
Call
to
them
imagine
up.
a president
By their
who,
ruling.
including Mr. Trump, would
By
go
their
for his
ruling.
rival and try to
Call them
win
up.
in this case. I don't think it offers that much help to him in the main. In this particular case,
Call them up.
it's going to be hard for the prosecution. But if I were the prosecutor on this case, Katie, what I'm starting to do right now is marshal my arguments that very, very few of the things we alleged are core constitutional prerogatives of the president. That many of them are private, but not all, to Andrew's earlier point, and that those that are quote unquote official are rebuttable. And that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah,
So you can argue they're actually not official.
correct, and that they're not entitled to immunity.
Okay,
so
and
does
who
liability
is
as a
going
prosecutor
to
get more
listen?
difficult?
And who
Absolutely.
is going
Have I
to
lost this
listen?
indictment and this trial?
The
Absolutely
crazy
not.
Trumpians
And so I would tell
that
everyone to
may be in
take a
power?
breath.
Okay, you made a good
Watch the
point.
hearing
They'll
go on.
listen to you. Oh, that was a
And then
wonderful
recess.
argument. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of black people hung by a tree that was saying, innocent. I didn't touch that white woman. I swear before God Almighty. And still got their neck stretched. So you trying to tell me you believe them same type of people? Because those are the type of people we're talking about. These are Trump supporters. Those same type of people with that type of mentality, that's what they're going to do. They're going to go, oh, great argument. You made a great point. We're going to concede. We're going to take our rebel flags home. We're going to take our hate speech home. We love everybody now. We love them all. Thank you for enlightening us. All you people with white robes and hoods, go home. This party's over. Party's over. You think that's what's going to really happen? Wake up. Come on. Now. Wake up. Come on. You're playing. You're playing. I'm going to tell you what. Black, brown, people of color, LGBT, anybody that's with me, anybody that don't want Trump in office, go down to your local gun shop and purchase a weapon legally. It's coming. It's coming.
The opinion says that whenever
it's coming. Mayhem's coming. Destabilization's coming.
Conduct that is presumptively official, and the burden then is
crazy
on the government
acts,
to disprove
continued
outside
crazy
of the
acts
scope
of
official
violence
that totally
against people of
hamstrings
color,
the government.
people
It's also
of
the case here
difference,
that the opinion suggests
that
conduct that is
the
outside
people
the scope
out there, the
that is
Trumplicans,
not subject to
don't
prosecution
like.
cannot be
They
used
don't
as
like
evidence to
the
establish that
other.
conduct
The
that is
war
within
against
scope of
the
prosecution
other
has happened.
is
So
coming.
that also hamstrings the government.
The
So
war
this is a
against the
decision I
other
think
is
it will be
coming.
hard to sort of say
And
it's
they
just
have
about
aligned the
presidency,
court
full stop.
system
It's about
with
the presidency
puppet
of Donald Trump and
judges.
about allowing him to
This
go
proves
forward
it
and
at
escape
the highest
accountability and the
level
actions that took place
of
on
our
January 6th.
democracy.
I'm drawn
We
to
now
something that Justice
have
Thomas wrote in his
puppets
concurring opinion, because the words used sound
in the
very
Supreme
Trump-like.
Court
In this
doing
case,
the
there has
bidding
been much discussion
of a
about ensuring
convicted
the president
felon.
is not above the law, but as the court explained,
They
the
have
president's
just
immunity
did
from
the
prosecution
bidding
for his official acts
of
is
an
the law. The Constitution provides for an
convicted
energetic
felon.
executive because
about
such an
that,
executive is essential to the security of liberty. Well, I said it sounds Trumpy because Trump always calls himself energetic, and he's got the stamina, and he's got the force of will, and he's got the energy.
He's got something all right, people.
President of the United States. It's the way that he's
He's got something all right.
So what he's trying to do right now with President
He's got
Biden.
racism.
We want to sneak in
He's
a very
got
quick break.
hatred.
It's going to be very short, I promise. On the
He's
other side of
got
things, we're gonna talk a
vileness.
little bit
He's
about
got
how this is
wickedness.
gonna
He's
affect
got the
politics
evil.
and the
He's
presidential
got it
race.
all
There's a lot
in
up
the
in
palm
air
of his
for the
hand.
race for the
Yes,
White
he
House.
does.
A lot of big
He's got it all in the
decisions.
palm of
What
his hand,
does
people.
this immunity
He's got the
decision-
whole
what does the Supreme Court do?
world in his
to us
hands.
right
He's
now?
got the
So that makes sense.
whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. And little Johnny don't give a damn. Okay? He's linking up with Putin. Him and Putin are buddies. They're planning a caviar party. Yes, they are. They're planning a caviar party. Yep, beluga. Yep, that's what they're planning. Putin and Trump got a party plan. Yep. You don't believe me? Ask him. I bet you I'm telling you, they got the date already set. They got the date set. Sure do. Yep. Got it all laid out when they're going to take Poland next. Yep. They're coming for Poland. Yes, they are. Poland's back on the menu, people. You better wake up and smell coffee. Poland is back on the menu. The rise of the Third Reich is coming. And it ain't going to be led by no Germans. Nope. It ain't going to be led by no Germans. No, no, no. The horsemen of the apocalypse are mounting their stallions. Yes, they are. The horsemen of the apocalypse are mounting their stallions. They're getting their horses ready. And they're going to make a march against democracy. I'm on the grind. You know I'm on the grind. They're going to make their move against democracy. They're making their move against democracy if you don't see it. That's what we see going on right here. This is a move against democracy. This is the most. When I say ridiculous, I don't mean because they've actually decided in Trump's favor. So let me be clear about that. The Supreme Court did not decide in Trump's favor. Okay? They did not. What they did was create a bunch of muddiness because they don't want to get involved. Roberts is scared. And so is his little crony buddies, Trump's other little crony buddies that all agreed to this decision, whatever it was. They're scared of Trump, plain and simple. They are scared. They're running scared. They're running scared of Trump's supporters. Trump supporters show up at your house. Ask Nancy Pelosi. I mean, if they show up at Nancy Pelosi's house, do what they did to her husband, they figure, they show up anyway, right? That's what's really going on. Fear. And they're afraid. And defenders of democracy can't be afraid. I know it's kind of a hard thing to understand, people. But if you're going to defend democracy, believe it or not, you cannot be afraid. The news is back on. We bring it back up commercial.
About the court largely, and has really said he believes this current court is out of whack in his words and really out of balance, he has suggested. They're waiting before weighing in on that side. But from the Biden campaign side of things, no surprise here. They weighed in quickly on this by focusing on January 6th and the acts and events that unfolded that day. And they put this in the context of what Donald Trump did, what he directed, and what he has talked about since
doing.
then. And
Yep.
they really put this in the
And he's going to do it.
statement
And he's
that they
already said he's going to do it
that
again.
This is really about
And he's going to take
someone who they
revenge.
argue in the former
I
president
say,
has said he
bring
wants
it.
to be a dictator on day one.
Bring it.
If he's reelected, and somebody
Bring it.
the Biden campaign and
Bring
senior
it.
advisors argue would really stop at nothing to try
that
to
man's
get
gotta go.
more
Plain and
power.
simple.
And essentially
It's
that
gotta
is the
go.
context that they're putting
Put him
this
in jail,
into. And they're
Joe.
saying that
Put him in
Donald
jail.
Trump has clearly time and time
Lock him
again
up. You can
spoken
do whatever the hell you
about
want.
his approach
Do
to
it.
January
Put him in
6th,
jail.
what he thought of the January 6th rioters,
Then,
and that
you know,
nothing about today's decision
Let the cards
changes
fall
that.
where they may.
And his
What are
hunger
the Republicans
for
going to say?
power.
What are the Republicans going to say?
This is
Well, the Supreme Court, that's not what they meant. what they want is they want to wait for Trump to get in office, and then those rules apply. Can you please remember when they did that nonsense with Obama with the appointing of the judge, and he fell for the okie doke. Obama, you my man, but you fell for the okie doke for whatever reason. You went for the okie doke. I won't say you fell for it. You allowed the okie doke to win. How about that? I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be polite. I think you're one of the greatest presidents that ever graced that office. So let me make that perfectly clear. All right. You know, different people are great presidents for different reasons. You know, you got the first, right? Then you got someone like a Kennedy, right? And a Lincoln, by the way, as well. So let me put that out there, right? You got Lincoln, you got a Kennedy, you got a Roosevelt, and you know, you got different ones that for the things that were going on in those times made them unique to their time, which made them really great presidents, because you had Kennedy with the Cuban crisis, not just because he got assassinated, but
David,
because
jump in on that.
of
How is
the
this being
Cuban
seen?
crisis.
I mean,
And how he went about resolving
there
that.
could be backlash among some voters.
Right?
Maybe
You
there's
got
backlash
Roosevelt for
among
the
independent
Reconstruction
voters.
deal and all
Maybe
that
they
kind
see
of
that it
stuff. You
says
got Lincoln for
overreach
the
and
slaves,
get
and then you
nervous
got the
about all the
first.
powers that Donald Trump
Then you got
might be handed if he
real
were
a
elected
real
president
person,
again. Maybe they decide
been
to
in
switch their
government,
votes. How is this
became
playing
president
out,
from the
in
ground up,
another ecosphere?
right? From the ground up.
Well, look,
Ground
we're
up.
going to have to see how the public
Became president.
digests this. The public has been
During the
voters, you know,
time
in particular, have been
when
focused on
America was
pigeonhole
in
issues that affect
financial,
day-to-day. A lot of the arguments,
economic,
about these very important topics that we have in Washington.
real estate was in the
higher
tank, the
circles
stock
don't
market
always
was in it,
trickle down. So
everything
let's see if this trickles
was
down in the way the Dobbs decision
hard.
particularly trickled down, because it was
And
about
then
an
came
issue
Obama.
that so many voters felt so viscerally.
Turned all of that
So that's
around, the
number one.
auto
Number
industry.
two,
Remember, Trump was saying, let them go
it's
belly up.
interesting that
Remember,
every,
Trump was saying, let them go belly up.
loss that
These
former
same
President
companies
Donald
now
Trump has suffered
that
has
he's
been good for his
cozying up
political
to, or they may be
prospects,
cozying
good
up
for
to
his
him. I don't
campaign.
know
It's
which
helped
way
him
it
raise
goes.
money. It's helped
The
him
point is, he was going to let them go out of business.
Republicans behind him, and even
Obama
grow
said,
the
no,
base of
we ain't doing
Republicans
that.
behind him. So
Created that whole
here's an area where
funding
he can claim
situation,
victory. But
kept them afloat with
we're not necessarily
taxpayer
going to
dollars,
see
which
the
those taxpayer
backlash from
dollars
a
got
loss that
repaid.
juices his
He did the same
fundraising
thing with the
and brings
banking
more
industry.
Republicans to his side. And then,
That money that was loaned to the banks got repaid back.
Last week's debate.
Tell me, and some with
topic,
interest.
and I don't mean to break it down.
That's all under Obama.
Politics is
Okay,
something
stock market
that's
through the
inconsequential
roof.
because it's very
Trump gets in office,
consequential, but from a
he
pure
throws
standpoint,
away every
this gives the
advice that
president's campaign
Obama
something
left
to
him,
rally
including what to do when COVID comes, because he told him COVID was coming. He said, throw everything that nigga wrote down, just throw it away.
Donald Trump is a unique
I ain't listening to no
American
nigga.
democracy.
That's what he said,
Coming
people.
out of
I'm
that
sorry.
debate,
That's
he's
what he
also gonna
said.
have to make the case
It's
why he
official.
should
Don't
still
be mad
the
at me.
nominee
Don't
if
be mad at
this
me.
election
He
is
said it,
that important.
not me.
Yeah, that's still very much a part
I'm
of the
just repeating his
conversation.
words.
Susan, on that subject,
Anyway,
there was this talk about
that's what
whether
he said.
this case
So,
and this ruling would give
says all of
President
that.
Biden a break from
COVID
discussion
comes,
about whether
COVID
he should
kills
run. I wonder if it
millions.
does the opposite, though. Does it make the
Millions.
stakes even higher?
And then he blames
and
somebody
the
else.
bar for
When
him
he was in
potentially
office,
even higher
stock
to
market
stay
tumbles, and he says, well, but it's because of
Yeah, I
COVID.
think that's an
That's
important way of phrasing
no,
it, and that's-
it's
that's
because
what
you
I've
didn't
been
do
thinking
anything
really in
about
the
COVID
minutes that we've
in
had to
time
discuss this ruling. It
before
clarifies
the markets
with
and
real
economy
urgency
reacted.
the stakes in this election, but it does not illuminate a path forward for Democrats. If anything, I think it creates even more sense and awareness of the stakes, the even existential stakes. And that's what's been happening the last few days. I think, is that
the
Biden
script.
campaign
You see,
has been
these
caught
people
by
act
their
like
own rhetoric, and they've never resolved the
they
contradiction.
can't
Joe Biden
respond
has been running for re-election by saying
to the decision of the Supreme Court. Like, well, we just not going to do that. Okay, you don't. And he gets in office. What do you think he's going to do? And even if he doesn't get in office, and this is the point, people, I don't really believe he can win. He can't win. You independents, you've now seen this. They're coming for you, by the way. You know, the Republicans and the white supremacists and the 47 plus mega people out there, Trump supporters.
Donald
don't
Trump appointed
like
Supreme
you.
Court. And I do think
What do you think they're going to
that
do about
trying to
independence?
understand and
You independents,
really
specific
get
ones that they know
at
by
what is
name,
the
the
agenda
same way they showed up
for
at
a
Nancy's
Trump
house.
second term when
What
he
do you
would be
think? There's nothing
empowered
going to
on
stop them
day
from
one to
showing
do
up at
things
your
that
house.
we previously thought
Your
were
family members'
unthinkable.
home. They said that they would do that
we
kind
are
of
really
stuff.
headed
Remember?
for a disaster
They're
in a
not.
way that it's hard to think
That's
through
not
in
beneath
the
them.
first half an hour.
They love that kind of stuff,
the
right?
awful
That's the kind of stuff they
consequences
love to do,
We're gonna digest this.
right?
We're gonna,
That's the kind of
like,
stuff
there
they
are
love to
ripple
do.
impacts of it, but you're right, you can hear
See?
the echoes of what
You
Nixon
people,
saying when the
when I say
president
you
does
people,
it.
I really do mean
It's not a
you
crime.
people.
This is very much how this
You
ruling
people
so far
that
read
aren't
to us.
like
I do
me
wanna touch
people,
back on Biden for one
okay,
more point. The
who
Biden team
never
said
had to
that you
suffer
can't judge his
the
campaign's
horrors
presidency based on
of being
one night
dragged out of
alone.
your bed at
This has
night
been a long time
and
coming,
watching
and
your
that night,
family
that debate
beaten
night was
before
supposed
you,
to ease
and then you're
fears that he's
hosted up
too
on a
old to be
pole.
president. This is a conversation
And
that's
while
been
you're up on a
had
pole, they have
for
fun.
months and months now, more than a year now, about
Evil,
his age.
crazy
The
white
Democrats
men
have
is
put
who
him
I'm
in
speaking
place.
about, with
President
your
Biden has
the
kept
female
himself in
members of
place
your family
with a ruling like this.
before they
What is
hang
your
slash
expectation
burn, hang
for how
slash burn you.
Democrats will respond?
You
Yeah, I think it's important
never
to raise
had
this
that.
because again,
No,
we've heard a lot of gaslighting, frankly, from
no,
Democrats
you've never heard that.
defending Joe Biden over the last few days.
You've never heard
asking
that.
Millions of Americans not to believe what they themselves saw with their own eyes, and I think it obscures. a more
You've
important
never
point,
heard
which is
that.
it's not about a bad 90-minute debate. It's about what is
Nope.
the trajectory
No,
of
no,
President
I never
Biden.
had to
He's
deal with
asking
that
Americans
before.
not to reelect him to
Never
office
had
as
to
he
deal
is
with
today,
that
which is
before.
already questionable, but how he would be over the next 4 years, ultimately ending up at 86 at the end of his second term. And I think that is
Never
a
had to
conversation
deal
that
with
they've
that
frankly
before.
done a brilliant job politically speaking.
Never had to
of
deal with that
obfuscating,
before. Thank you,
for the
thank you,
last couple
thank
of
you,
years, but is now
my
finally
friend,
Listen, I've been talking to donors, I've been
Lavera
talking to
out there,
lawmakers, I've been talking to voters.
committed
And
to the
question
journey.
is more
She's
from
out
Kenny
there.
campaign to
Appreciate
Kenny
your commentary.
And that is a
Really
dangerous,
do.
morph
Trying to
pattern.
make it
Dangerous
real for
conversation
everybody
to have
out
regarding the
here.
president, especially
Really
with
am. So
states
thank
that
you,
have been
thank
so
you, thank
clearly
you
laid
for
out
that.
by the
Yep.
Supreme Court
Really
of
do
this country,
appreciate it.
saying
Thank
that
you
a
very
president
much.
has
I
enjoys
am
a full
seeing the
immunity.
comments,
And when
and
you're talking about
I
electing somebody
appreciate
with
it.
judgment, you better be sure that the
And
judgment
so,
of the person who's going to hold the office
what are we going to
is
do,
judgment
people?
that you think is sound.
What
Donald Trump has proven
are we going to
otherwise
do?
time and time again. All right, politics aside, we're going to go back to all the law. We're going to read a little bit more into this decision. There's
What
some
are we
interesting
gonna do?
points about how the
Are we
president
going to
can
defend
interact
democracy?
with his DOJ. We're going to get into that in just a moment. Don't
Are we
go
going to
anywhere.
defend
We will be right back.
democracy? Are we? Are we going to defend democracy? Because that's what we have to do. We have to defend it. What do we have to do? Well, I would say write your congressman. That's a joke. Oh, that's a joke. That really is a joke. That is a joke. That's a joke. I contacted one of mine. I had to go do all the work myself to prove that my dead wife has been dead for 8 years so they can stop taking out insurance so that she can get my retirement when I die. She dead 8 years. I just got that fixed. Just got that fixed. Yeah. You think that's something? Wait till you see what's coming next. I'm still waiting on pay from these people because they say I owed a loan. Wasn't really a loan. I got paid for early separation, and I repaid it. Repaid it over 30 months ago. I asked my congressperson, whose her name shall remain nameless. It's a female. Look up the district that I'm in Hillsborough County. I think it's District 2. But anyway, you can look it up and see who she is. Anyway, and all she did was parrot back the people that I was writing about. So I had to contact the two entities. We got DFAS and we got the Veterans Administration. So when I was under the Veterans Administration, I'm a disabled veteran. When I get my disability pay, if I have any money that needs to be repaid back to the government, it comes out of there. And that's what had been years to the point 2021. So I had to pause for a minute, people, because I got a message up here saying that my phone was not connected. So that's why I paused for that brief moment to let it catch back up. And so I can, you can hear what I'm saying. And it also caused me to lose my train of thought. There's so much going on, people. There's so much going on. So much going on. I'm going to end this with that. We've been live now. Oh, give or take. Let's see. Almost an hour. This has been almost an hour. It's been 54 minutes, people. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this up. I really am going to wrap it up. I want 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 to wrap it up. If you think that a even better loser this time around, something wrong with you and people of color. You're number one on their hit list. You're number one on their hit list. You're an antagonizer as far as they're concerned. Did you see a couple of them Republican states where they made change in their constitutional law, state law, where if you protest, your protest actions can be considered disruptive to police actions. So if you say, hey, you stop beating that person over there, you shouldn't be beating them like that. You talking to the police officer and saying that is interfering with police actions, and you can be held accountable for that. Same thing with the test. They can say that your actions are anti-government because you're protesting. Isn't that what our country's to be able to protest? If you can't protest in the place in front of the people that you have your grievance with, what's the point of protesting? Oh yeah, they don't see you. I say you're 10 blocks away. I'm going to keep it within the realm of real possibility. I'm not saying I'm not going to put you in a different state and protest against something going on in a different state, because they might make you want to do that next. You know, you're in Montana, but I'm going to protest something in New York, and then you got to be that far apart to protest without getting arrested by the Montana police or vice versa.
Is constitutional. Justice Thomas weighed in on that.
We know that's ridiculous, right? That's what they're trying to do. So they're coming for you. You have to decide, independents, are you defenders of democracy or not? You got time to make a stand. In fact, you might want to just get rid of the independent party altogether and pick a side. I don't care which side you're going at this point. But you better choose. And you better choose wisely. And you better choose soon.
But as a blip,
what are you waiting for?
And the reason why I'm concerned,
I want to see how they do in the next debate. That wasn't a debate. It was nonsense. It's nonsense this man is running. It's not even a man. I don't know what it is, like a Gollum creature. Anyways, it's nonsense that Donald Trump is running, so you know exactly who I'm talking about. Yes, I'm talking about him. So it's Popa Ray, Family and Friends Show. Remember,
there's an invitation in the concurrence by Justice
we are all human beings.
For there to be a question of the validity of the appointment.
So let's treat each other that way.
That goes even beyond this analysis.
Treat people the way that you would have them treat you, your loved ones, your family, and your friends. Treat people with love, dignity, honor, and respect. Find somebody to forgive. Find somebody to forgive. I forgive. Going to be hard to forgive them white supremacists out there. No forgiving is going to be done until this is over, by the way. No, we ain't playing that. No, we ain't turning the other cheek. No. See, look, how many times can I do that? You slap. How many times can I turn that cheek? Turn the cheek is over. Get your Defenders of Democracy package. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go out to my website. Go click on one of them links, Defenders of Democracy. Take a look at the package. Be ready to defend democracy. Be ready to defend America. Democracy is calling you. Democracy is demanding that if you want to live and stay in this country with all its flaws, but its great potential, you've got to do something. And now is the time. Defenders of democracy, rise up and defend democracy and vote against Trump. I forgive you. I forgive you. But I choose when that will happen. Popa Ray Family and Friends Show. And I'm still here with my girl Shell. Still going on, still going strong.
I think he did
What?
both. I think he cited to both decisions. I mean, I could stand corrected.